No? Everybody? We're good? Everybody good?
Yeah, thanks for checking.
Well, good morning, everyone. We wanted to come out here and provide a situational update and make sure everybody understand both what happened in the last couple nights and also where we're going here moving forward. I wanted to acknowledge how inspired I am by so many community members that have stepped up. They've been providing food to people that have immigrated to Minneapolis. They've made sure that those that are terrified right now of the actions by ICE have support, have love, have care, are able to get to the grocery store, even childcare. The way that they have stepped up is amazing. I also want to acknowledge that the vast majority of people have protested peacefully, recognizing that I have seen community members sort of step into the breach, recognizing that there are others out there, agitators that are trying to rile up large crowds. And not only have they not taken the bait, they have pushed others back from the brink to say, hey, you know what? This is what Donald Trump wants. He wants us to take the bait. He wants those agitators to get a hold of this crowd in a way that it makes them cause harm to others and or damage to property. And so to them, I want to say my deepest thanks. We are so grateful for everything that you've been doing. And to our first responders, to our police officers, Chief O'Hara, to our firefighters, Chief Rucker, they have been working tirelessly. They have canceled all days off. They've made sure that they are out here protecting people, keeping them safe, and showing a true juxtaposition between the kind of public safety and service that we provide to our residents here at the city of Minneapolis versus what ICE is doing. And so, again, I am inspired by so many community members that have kept the peace and that are making very clear the message: we cannot take the bait. And to the few that have caused damage to property and or harm to others, need to be very clear, we're not going to let that happen. If you cause damage to property or put others in dangers, you're going to be arrested. And again, the vast majority of people have done this right. We are so deeply appreciative of them. But we have seen a few incidents last night. Those incidents are being reviewed. There were approximately 29 arrests that were made that Chief O'Hara will provide an update on. But we wanted to, again, give sort of the overarching theme of what we're seeing, which is peaceful protest. And we wanted to say when that doesn't happen, of course, there are consequences. We are a safe city. We will not counter Donald Trump's chaos with our own brand of chaos here. We in Minneapolis are going to do this right. Chief O'Hara is going to now provide an update. Thank you, Chief, for all your work.
Good morning. My name is Brian O'Hara, B-R-I-A-N, O''H-A-R-A. I am the Minneapolis Police Chief. The Minneapolis Police Department has been monitoring a number of marches and protests and other First Amendment activities over the course of the week. All of those protests and marches have remained peaceful until last night. Last night at about 7 p.m., there was a gathering outside the Canopy Hotel in downtown Minneapolis. That gathering began as all the other gatherings around hotels had been conducted over the last several days. Largely peaceful, mainly a noise protest that was occurring, trying to disrupt the activities at the hotel. Unfortunately, that changed last night. Individuals at the Canopy then began marching on Washington Avenue towards the Depot and the Renaissance Hotel. While they were there, some individuals broke off from that group, and in the rear, they caused some damage to that hotel, damage to some of the windows and some graffiti damage. They then returned to the Canopy Hotel, where the Minneapolis Police Department responded with well over 200 police officers, Minnesota State Troopers, and Minnesota DNR police officers. We initiated a plan and took our time to de-escalate the situation, issued multiple warnings declaring an unlawful assembly, and ultimately then began to move in and disperse the crowd. It was well over 1,000 individuals, we believe, that were assembled there. And as those individuals broke off from the crowd, we had some other marches that then continued downtown. Ultimately, by 1 a.m., all of these individuals were either dispersed or placed under arrest. There were 29 arrests last night. We are aware of one police officer that was injured from a chunk of ice that was thrown at them. Other than that, we are not aware of any other injuries. I just want to say I'm incredibly proud of the police officers in this town and the state law enforcement officers and all the other police that have been here with us through this. What you saw last night was a disciplined and restrained response. I think it was highly professional, and I'm thankful for the members of the community who understand our need to keep things peaceful, and I'm thankful for those officials and others that are continuing to call for peaceful protest and assembly. Obviously, there's a number of additional marches and protests that we will be monitoring today, and we are fully prepared if things cross the line and become unlawful to make additional arrests if necessary. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. We'll open it to questions. I'll go here and then here. Over to Chief O'Hara for a little bit more of an update. But the question is, what kind of immigration enforcement are we seeing in the city? I'll start by mentioning the immigration enforcement that is taking place is not limited to Minneapolis. It's in our entire region, St. Paul, St. Louis Park, Brooklyn Center. We're seeing it in a number of different areas throughout Minnesota. And as far as I can tell, it's happening all times of the day. I'll let Chief O'Hara give a little bit more of an update. A lot of it is scattered. A lot of it is unplanned. This is part of the issue, is that this is not a coordinated strategic plan that we're seeing being carried out. In many cases, it's indiscriminate. I've said this before, but I think that the initial impetus to come to Minnesota was go to Minnesota, arrest and deport a bunch of Somali people. And then they get here and they realize that the Somali people that would be arrested or deported are all legal. They're American citizens. You can't do that. And so there's not like some meatpacking plant or factory where you can go and get a bunch of Somalis. And then they turned their ire towards our Latino community and other immigrant communities that are here. Regardless, these are communities that make Minneapolis a better place. And so to have this kind of scattered buckshot approach that we're seeing that is not strategic in any way, not only endangers these community members that have been here for the long haul, it endangers these neighborhoods that they're rolling through. Minneapolis is on a great comeback, and they're just making it more difficult for that comeback to fully take shape. And so I'll turn it over to Chief O'Hara.
I'm sorry, what was the initial question?
So the question was, can you tell us what some of these immigration enforcement actions
the actions.
Look like?
So the actions are widespread across all parts of the city, mainly focused on the south side and in some cases northeast part of Minneapolis. There are oftentimes what appear to be arrests made from vehicles, and we have had reports that come in of vehicles that are abandoned that we then have to respond to tow the vehicles. At least in one case, we had a report of a person taken from a vehicle, that the vehicle was not even placed in park, and the car rolled, blocking the roadway, and we had to respond and tow it. Another instance, I remember there was a vehicle that was left in the roadway with a dog inside that we had to respond with animal control and take custody of the dog. So it's a number of actions that are occurring on the city streets, and they are happening all over the city.
Did you tell them about the one on 3rd Avenue? So just to give you another example of how reckless some of these actions are, maybe 12 blocks from here, 10 blocks from here, over on 3rd Avenue, there was an ICE action that took place. An individual from a car that was in the middle of a pretty significant street was detained. They left the car in the middle of the street. The car wasn't even in park, and so you've got this vehicle that is just rolling down the street with nobody in it. And it wasn't a Waymo. This was a car that was rolling down the street that could have hit anybody, including my own family members that live not too far from there. And so this is not about safety, clearly. If this was about safety, you wouldn't do stupid things like that. Somebody's going to get hurt. Somebody has gotten killed. And so that's not the route as to how you do any of these exercises productively or safely. And so that's what we're saying. Yes?
Looking ahead tonight for night 5, ICE isn't leaving. DHS is sending more officers. How concerned are you about temper spraying, people getting tired, exhausted, and things turning bad?
Yeah. I mean, concern, of course, is the name of the game. We are constantly monitoring what is taking place, not just the actions on the street, but also the energy of our police officers, our firefighters, our first responders that in many cases haven't gotten a whole lot of sleep. They're working really hard right now. So, I mean, I just think it's common sense that, you know, anybody, if you're tired or you're hungry or you're sick or you're forced to make a split-second decision when you're tired or you're hungry or you're sick, you're more likely to make a mistake. We don't want mistakes being made. And so I'm so appreciative of their work. I'm really grateful for it. And again, I want to reiterate this. I am really grateful for so many community members. I saw this video, I think it was yesterday, where you had this agitator, clearly from the far right, that was coming in and trying to rile up the crowd. He was trying to make the crowd do something that they shouldn't be doing. He was trying to make the crowd take the bait so that they would give the authorization, or at least an excuse for the Trump administration to come in even more. It was so awesome that not only was the crowd not taking the bait, they were basically blowing them off. They were grinning down the bear. And I think that is emblematic of what's happening in Minneapolis right now. We are grinning down the bear. We are meeting a whole lot of despair with a lot of hope. We are doing right. We are being strategic. And yes, for those that aren't being strategic, for those that are taking the bait and causing property damage or otherwise, there are consequences. We're holding the line here all the way.
Related to the shooting, I understand the officer, the ICE officer who was shot, was treated at a hospital. Could you elaborate a bit on the nature of that, any injuries, where he was treated, when he was treated, how long he was in medical care?
I think you're referencing the ICE agent, and I don't have any information on that. Do you? No, we don't know.
There are some people online who are frustrated that they thought Minneapolis Police Department left the scene of the protest last night. Of course, you guys came back and state police came as well. Can you describe to us the strategy behind when you're not present at those protests and when you decide to come in?
So this is a fine line that we have to walk, because unfortunately there's a whole lot of people that once we inject ourselves into a situation, then want to turn their frustration and their anger on us. So what we do is we act very strategically with restraint. We take our time to ensure that we have sound tactics, a good plan, and move in so that we can keep the safety of law enforcement as well as the safety of community in mind. What happened last night at one point was we still have everything else that happens in American cities happening. Our police officers had to respond to a 911 call that a woman who had an altered mental status had driven her car up onto a sidewalk and was blocking a parking access. So the police responded there and were dealing with that issue when they were unexpectedly and quite quickly surrounded by protesters at that march. And as we have seen, it is our police officers that then become the object of people's frustration. So because there was a safety element there, we quickly responded in and got those officers out, and then immediately formed up well over 200 police officers with a sound plan, began videotaping the actions that were happening and making the announcements and taking our time and allowing people who were not involved in illegal activity to legally disperse. But once it became clear, I think it was around 10:15 that we declared that. Once it became clear that there were individuals that were not going to abide by our direction to leave, they were placed under arrest.
I know you mentioned you've had to cancel a few. Can you speak to the level of police resources that are going to respond to situations related to ICE operations right now?
So the question was, we have canceled all days off and recalled personnel to duty. So the level or percent of people who are responding to events around this, I would say is close to 100%. So we have officers, obviously, that are conducting their normal duties and responding to 911 calls, but then they're also being held over, and they're being held on standby, if not being assigned to post up in locations. Last night, as obviously we were dealing with over 200 officers at the scene to execute the unlawful assembly and dispersal order. We were also posting other police officers around downtown to ensure that we did not have additional destruction. So it is quite literally almost 100% of every sworn member of the department.
Do you think 911 calls specifically about immigration enforcement? People saying I saw ICE officers do X or Y?
The question was getting 911 calls specifically about immigration enforcement, and yes, there's just dozens and dozens every single day, ranging from anything from people seeing arrests happening, or they seeing surveillance, or they seeing individuals that they're not sure that are ICE, to the things that I mentioned, that there's cars that are now left abandoned because someone was detained.
We'll do one more.
She's been had her hand up.
Yeah.
Sarah from the Christian Science Monitor. What is the status of both of your offices' communication with DHS?
So the question was the status of communication with DHS. We have ongoing communication with all of federal law enforcement in Minnesota, and that's because we do have work that goes on and continues to go on, addressing gang violence, drug dealing, and serious street crime. So there is ongoing communication with our officers and federal agents literally every single day. It's just that there is not. There's a line. There's a separation between communication around those issues and communication around immigration enforcement. There is none.
Thanks, everybody.
Next question.